Hi guys, I've just seen Avengers Endgame. If you want to know what I thought about this film, then stay tuned and watch this video. Hello, my name is Darren and welcome to my YouTube channel. In today's video I'm going to review Avengers Endgame. First of all, there's spoilers ahead. Please do not watch if you've not seen Avengers Endgame and you don't want to know what happened, as there's spoilers ahead. Anyway, over the weekend, me and my family managed to finally see Avengers Endgame. And I have to say, it was amazing. The film starts by showing us the home life of Clint Barton, otherwise known as Hawkeye. He's basically having a good time with his family. We're having a picnic, and his family vanishes in an instant. Victims of the cliffhanger from the previous film, Avengers Infinity War, when Thanos wiped out half the souls of the universe with the snap. Where Infinity War ended with the devastating scene of beloved heroes turning to dust, this scene drops us right back in the devastation as real people vanish. The first part of the movie is really dark and demoralising, as our heroes have reached a rock bottom and still reeling from the events of Infinity War. Stark is marooned in space with Nebula on the verge of death. Everything looks bleak when they are saved by Captain Marvel. At this point in the film, the film's writers have assumed that you've seen the film Captain Marvel and know how Captain Marvel arrived in the Marvel Universe. So with all the Avengers back together, they discuss what to do next. There's a brilliant scene here where you cut the tension with a knife as Tony blames Steve Rogers for what has happened, and he starts references stuff from previous films. The acting is brilliant, especially by Robert Downey Jr. It's just absolutely unbelievable. But they eventually come up with a plan and track down Thanos to a planet where he's all alone. He's weak, living alone, and he's a bit of a poor character. He doesn't look as strong as he was in Infinity War. And Thor kills him quite easily. It was a bit of an anticlimax, really. And all that was within probably the first 15-20 minutes. I found it a shock killing Thanos straight away. And I think it was a pretty big gamble, in my opinion, by the film's writers, because it left me wondering what was going to happen next. We cut to 5 years in the future, where we discover how badly the remainder of our heroes have been adjusting to life after the snap. And it's not been good. It's quite sad seeing our heroes struggle with the emotional turmoil, from Hawkeye turning into a violent vigilante to Captain America attending self-help groups. There's an overwhelming sense of dread with our heroes, and nothing seems quite right. But it's also funny at the same time, especially with Thor now being an overweight drunk who spent his time playing Fortnite. This got an extra loud laugh from my son, who's a Fortnite fanatic. But in a garage somewhere, in a van, a rat saves the day when it inadvertently presses a button on this contraption in the van and accidentally brings Ant-Man back from the quantum realm. He discovers that he's been away 5 years, but it's only been 5 hours for him in the quantum realm. He discovers that everyone's been killed in the snap, and he comes up with the idea of going back in time to retrieve the stones so that the snap can be undone and all our heroes can be brought back to life again. So our heroes get together, make a plan, and they'll split into teams and go back in time to retrieve the stones. If we ignore the plot holes of time travel, it was a joy to watch our heroes revisit some of the previous movies and characters. We had Professor Hulk, Ant-Man, Captain America and Iron Man visit New York in 2012 during the first Avengers Assemble film. Here, Banner visits the Inner Sanctum and convinces the Ancient One to give him the Time Stone. Steve Rogers successfully retrieves the Mind Stone, but Stark and Ant-Man inadvertently allow 2012's Loki to escape with the Space Stone. Rogers and Stark have to travel to SHIELD headquarters in 1970 to retrieve the Space Stone. Here we have Stark meeting a young Howard Stark, his father, in the process, which was quite moving, while at the same time Rogers steals pin particles from Hank Pym so that they can return to the present. In the meantime, Rocket and Thor visit Asgard in 2013 from the film Thor 2, so they can extract the Reality Stone from Jane Foster. And then we have Rhodes and Nebula, who travel to Morag in 2014 and to steal the Power Stone, but before Peter Quill does in Guardians of Galaxy film. At the same time, Thanos of 2014 learns of his future success and the Avengers attempts to undo it. Thanos captures the present Nebula and deactivates her and sends past Nebula to present disguised as future self. Also, we have Hawkeye and Black Widow, who travel to Vormir to get the Soul Stone. There are layers and layers of callbacks, Easter eggs and references and returning stars that will make even the stoic fan giddy with delight. Yes, I said giddy. And I was one of them. I loved this sequence. It was absolutely superb. But it was also heart-wrenching and emotional too. The main heart-wrenching shock for me was when was the death of Black Widow, who had to sacrifice herself to get the Soul Stone. I had tears running down my face as Hawkeye and Black Widow battled it out as to who would be able to sacrifice themselves. It was very sad and emotional for me. But anyway, reuniting in the present, the remaining Avengers fit the stones into a Stark-created glove, and Professor Hulk dons the glove and uses it to resurrect all those that have been disintegrated by Thanos in the previous movie. At the same time though, past Nebula using the time machine to transport past Thanos and his warship to the present, where he attacks the Avengers compound, and then we come back to the climax of the film. The last 30 minutes of Avengers Endgame is absolutely breathtaking, as we have all the Avengers, yes, all the Avengers face off against Thanos and his army. I was like a little boy in a sweet shop. I had a huge grin on my face and tears rolling down my face as I watched all my heroes on the big screen fight. It was unbelievable. As a child, I watched all these Marvel cartoons and I could only dream of seeing them in the big screen. It was just an absolute joy to watch. In the end, Iron Man has to sacrifice himself as he uses the stones to disintegrate Thanos and his army. This was quite sad, and it's another emotional part of the film for me, very sad. Following Stark's funeral, Thor appoints Valkyrie as the ruler of New Asgard, and he joins the Guardians of the Galaxy and they go off on their adventures in space. We've got Captain America. He returns the Infinity Stones to their original time points, and then he remains in the past to live his life with Peggy. In the present, an elderly Captain America gives his shield to Sam Wilson, and I guess he passes his mantle over to him. So yeah, that sort of leaves open to the next stage. Before I go on, I just want to go on to a couple of plot holes and niggles that I saw. Number one, is Loki still alive somewhere with the Tesseract? Because he escaped. So is he alive now somewhere? And if he is alive somewhere, why was he in prison on Asgard in 2013 when Rocket and Thor retrieved the Reality Stone from Jane Foster? He shouldn't have been in prison anymore if he had escaped. Just a thought. And also, why didn't future Nebula die? Because she killed her past self? Wouldn't her present self die? Wouldn't that be a paradox? Just a thought? I don't know. There are probably others, but it didn't detract from the enjoyment of the film. And if we ignore these plot holes, I think it was a perfect ending to a decade of films. It started with Iron Man about 11 years ago, but after 22 movies, Avengers Endgame is the perfect culmination of an era of Marvel movies. No other movie franchise has ever attempted anything like this before. And if you haven't seen the other Marvel Universe movies, you probably won't appreciate the gravity of this film. I was an emotional wreck at the end. In my opinion, Avengers Endgame is a fan's wet dream and fulfills your wildest expectations with all its might, delivering a spectacle that is genuinely affecting and packed with properly exciting moments that literally draw your breath away and make you clap and whoop and jump out of your seat. It was absolutely amazing. It is very well paced, and you'll be so wrapped up in the action and the character moments that you won't even notice how long it is. The 3 hours just flew by just for me. I thought the acting by Robert Downey Jr. and Chris Evans was absolutely outstanding. In fact, I thought the acting of all the stars was brilliant. The effects were amazing. It was breathtaking. I've literally run out of superlatives to describe how good this film was. I don't think this will ever be surpassed or ever be repeated for that matter. This kind of grand filmmaking is what superhero blockbusters should be. I know for some people, particularly non-Marvel fans, it may be lost in them and they might not have thought it was that good. But for me, I can honestly say that this was the best superhero film I've ever seen. I could go on for hours talking about different moments in this film, but I think I should stop before I pass out from getting too excited talking about it. In fact, I'm just about losing my voice talking about it. So yeah, I think I will leave it there. But I will leave you with this thought though. Who would have thought at the end of Avengers Infinity War that a rat would save the day in the end? Just something for you to ponder. Anyway, that's just my opinion. What do you guys think? Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Do you hate the film? Do you love the film? Let me know in the comments what you think. Thanks for watching, and if you like this video, then please zap that like button. And if you want to watch more videos like this, then please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Cheerio, bye for now, see ya!